Greetings, nerds. This is CNN Nerd. I'm your host, Sarah Belmont, and with me, as always, is our Mr. Producer, Will Polk. How are you doing tonight, Will?
Doing very well, Sarah. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, same here. Just enjoying a nice spring day, and
It is spring, people. My
yeah.
way will tell you that because I can actually see concrete on it and not ice. So
Oh,
it is
yeah.
spring.
That's awesome. Yeah, here we have just the green like pollen everywhere, but it's starting to subside, so that's always good. But just glad it's going well, and I mean just sneaking here at the very top of the show. Just wanted to continue to thank folks for sticking with us. I know a lot of folks are having to work from home and other things, and it's hard to listen to podcasts these days, but just wanted to appreciate everyone. I know just for always supporting us and stuff, and yeah, just in a very reflective mood today, I guess.
I find it easier to listen to a podcast from home.
Yeah, see,
have it in the background, white noise.
Oh, there you go. See, I'm like office sharing now with a bunch of people, so it's kind of hard. But it's
like being single and alone. This quarantine business is like so much more different than what you're going through. There's pros and cons, but enough about that. Will at one point will never bring up quarantine on the show again. I don't know when that will be, but I'm going to start making him drop all of that information during the pre-show. And then when we're actually on the show, we can just jump dive to why we're here, which we're not here to talk about the world outside. We're here to simply talk about the world on our TVs and computer screens.
Yeah.
So on that note, Dune dropped some photos in Vanity Fair because apparently Dune thinks it's still going to get released this year.
Hey, I thought you said you were going to stop talking COVID.
That is stop talking about. Will.
I couldn't resist.
I did my part. I don't know why you stopped. You're killing me.
I'm sorry. See, this is what happens when we all do a long pre-show.
We did 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know. All right, I'll be good.
That's all I have to say. Dune dropped set photos.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's I'm actually looking forward to this. I don't know. Did you ever watch the original? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was. So it has the regular cut, then it has the very extended cut, and it's like Kyle MacLachlan and some other. I think Sting was in it, so it was okay. But I'm actually looking forward to this one. I mean, it's got a pretty star-studded cast.
Mm-hmm.
Jason.
It is the cast, and then Villeneuve. I mean, he ever since Arrival, he's been that director who's very similar to Nolan. People now go to the cinemas, I think, for his movies in particular. That plus the cast. However, I will say, when I first saw the image of Timothée Chalamet, God, I cannot talk tonight. That's what I'm experiencing. I saw the photo of him walking along a beach, it looked like, or something. Yeah. I could have sworn it was Robert Pattinson in Twilight.
I was getting that vibe too. At first, I was like, "Wait a minute." I mean, I know this is Dune. I know he's supposed to be walking in it, and obviously the title describes the planet, which is one big desert. But yeah, it was just like, huh. Yeah, I had to do a double take too. I was like, "Am I seeing the correct film here?" Because I was feeling that too.
Between the hair, the age, I don't know. There's something so funny about it that it just stuck in my head. And I've seen others, and we've talked about this before. I'm not really someone who's just shocked and awed by set photos because there's some digital behind the scenes work with those images, and that's not really telling you about the story. And I know this is a remake, so some of us already know the story. I honestly don't. I'm going in very blind to this movie. But the true test will be the trailer. and whenever we actually get to see it, because I am excited for it. Villeneuve is great. He's a fantastic director.
He is.
And in other news, some good news.
Yeah.
Oh man, John Krasinski, who's slowly becoming the savior of quarantine life. I love that guy so much.
Yeah. He is like, this over the last few weeks, he has definitely have brightened my YouTube during the day whenever I could watch some good news. And and I know this was rumored some time back, but it was back in the news. I guess he kind of teased this week on the show that he adding fuel to the fires to the rumors that he met with Marvel to possibly be behind the new Fantastic Four project.
Yeah, it was interesting because I remember watching the video and before anything came out about it. But now I'm subscribed to that channel because I just adore Krasinski and everything. Mm-hmm. So it popped up and I watched it. And there was this awkward moment where he was just talking about how he looked straight to camera and in a very like tongue-in-cheek way just implied he would never be a Marvel hero. And so that has led into this whole discourse. And of course we're bored and we have all the time in the world to go screen shot by shot breakdown of like, was he looking? What was that? Was that a wink? Was that sun in his eyes? I don't know what's going on here. So there are some implications, and this has been a rumor for a long time. This is everyone since A Quiet Place has basically said Mr. and Mrs. Fantastic.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. Well,
that's the thing. Woman and Stretchy Man.
Yeah. yeah. Well, that's the thing, because it's...
Okay. This is the best show ever because, man, I'm going to name this title of this episode, Invisible Woman and Stretchy Man.
That's a perfect title. Oh gosh.
It's clearly John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
It clearly is. Maybe.
You are the nerd. I am the scene. I don't know. Yeah. So that there is speculation. There is almost. We're just waiting for it. But who knows when we'll get it? Maybe after 2020. We'll see. But it's one of those fun things to to spitball whether it's true or not. But I mean, he is, again, it's been out there before that he was going to be Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards and stuff, and I hope it comes to true fruition. But we in the meantime we can just watch that video again and again and then try to glean from it what if he was truly dropping a hit or not. So we shall see. Also, Marvel. Other Marvel news dropped over the week. Sam Raimi has confirmed to direct Doctor Strange. I thought that was already confirmed.
Yeah, I think he was on a show this week, and he confirmed it in a roundabout way, where there was a scene in Spider-Man 2 where they were, if you recall, I forgot the scene honestly, but I guess whenever they were trying to name Dr. Octopus, since he was the villain in that film, I guess Jonah Jameson's press aide said, "How about Doctor Strange?" when they were trying to come up with a name for the headline in the paper. And so that was how Raimi confirmed that he was indeed stepping in to film, direct Doctor Strange 2.
And apparently Disney is desperate for money, desperate for all the people who canceled their subscriptions, me included, to go back on and get Disney Plus again because they have announced that they will be dropping an 8-part Mandalorian docu-series. You're still not getting my money back, Disney. Still not. Actually, I've gone through an experience right now where I am really trying to drop subscriptions of various channels. Mm-hmm. I think I cut off Showtime because Billions isn't on, so I don't need it right now. Right. I was on the verge of cutting off HBO, but I found a reason why I still need it. So, and more on that in a few minutes. But I am going through this like very cathartic purge of trying to make sure that I am managing my consumption of those different sites.
I totally get it. I mean, with at least with the Mandalorian, I know I was kind of in the same place. I mean, I had Disney Plus, have the bundle, so so I could have Hulu and everything as well. But it definitely gets to that. It's getting to that point where it's sort of like cable. It's like cutting the cord with cable, and with all these subscription services and stuff. So yeah, a lot of times I'll just do the free trial just to be able to see what I want to watch, and then boom, cut it. But I mean, this was definitely, as far as getting back to the Mandalorian. I saw this. It's clearly they are starving for content and giving people something to come back to the site to see this 8-part miniseries. I mean, as far as I recall, I think they were able to wrap filming, because I think I seem to remember Gina Carano and a couple other folks, posted on Instagram and other thing last day of shooting photos. So maybe, COVID may have delayed post-production, but as far as I know, everything's still on go. Disney hasn't said anything about delaying Mandalorian from the fall, and of course, I think at this point it'd be premature for them to do so, because they again, they don't want more people to unsubscribe. But this is definitely this is a nice little touch for May the 4th day. So
yeah, and I just want to say, even though I have said this isn't going to allow me to, or make me want to go back and repurchase that subscription, I will say that being someone who enjoys listening to commentaries about some of my favorite films behind the screens, I totally get the need. And if you're into that, then good for you. And this will hopefully satisfy you, or at least make you look at things in a different way and then rewatch it. I mean, that's the interesting thing about anytime you get that experience from the creators of understanding what happened behind the scenes, because it provides more context. And then when you rewatch things, you can almost understand it in a different way.
Yeah, definitely. So, I think, when I saw the news, I was like, I need to go back and rewatch this show, because I did enjoy it. I mean, there were a couple episodes that, they're in the middle were kind of, I felt, filler, but overall I thought the series was very good, and it helped, especially get the taste of Rise of Skywalker out of my mouth. So, so I'll probably, given that I'm a big Star Wars fan, I will definitely watch this. I mean, there's no probably about it. I'll be there on May 4th watching this.
You set me up for such a funny joke, and I don't know if I should say it.
Go right ahead. The way the night's going, we can do it.
Whoa. It is not about you, so don't play all victim.
Okay.
No, I'm not. I mean, if people who listen to our show know me at all or understand my humor, I think based on what you were saying about getting a taste of a Skywalker, out of your mouth, I think they would know where my mind went. So on that note, clearly we are going to Ozark.
Oh gosh,
Because I went back to Ozark.
Yeah.
And I have a story.
All right, let's hear this because I really liked season 1, and then I started season 2, and then I fell off. So you didn't even make it to the end of season 1. Just to remind everyone. Accusations, nothing. Now you did. You dropped off because we were like talking about the show.
Be all mean about it. I'll return. However, I do have my issues. Ozark is interesting. I went back to it because clearly I have all this time on my hands now, and I kept hearing people say, Ozark season 3, best show on TV. Ozark season 3, unbelievable. Christian Harloff even broke it down to say that every episode in that season is crafted in a very unique way where the climax is in the middle of the show. And as soon as he said that, my mind was like, oh, I got to watch this. I got to understand that. Let me tell you, he lied. I disagree with that. And I have my issues. And so last weekend, because I hadn't finished season 1, I kind of was bored. I think I started episode 8 of season 1, and so I got caught up. And then season 2, and then I found myself really wanting to watch season 3. I think season 2, honestly, is a better season than season 3.
Okay.
I really do. I really liked it, and it hooked me. But season 3 was so overhyped that I went into it thinking that it would be on par with like a season of The Wire or something. And it's not that it wasn't. I get why people would be drawn to that show. Mm-hmm. I disagree that Jason Bateman is the reason to watch it. It's Laura Linney. Laura Linney delivers a performance in that 3rd season that is really good and really fascinating to watch. There's one scene in particular, I think in episode 8, where she's like, here, where's my Emmy? Okay. Where's my Emmy? Okay. Have I cried enough? And it's good. However, in retrospect, I'm not really craving season 4 because my issue is these characters. I can predict what's going to happen next. Never watching the seasons in a very binge way, I never was surprised by what happened, by how certain actions cause catalysts. And often I think, and you know my error rate, I am not good at predicting things in TV shows. We all know this. And yet I think I predicted about 80% of the things that happened.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Well, maybe I'll see now. I'm like you were after with season 1 as far as because I've been debating whether or not to watch season 2 and 3. I mean, I started season 2 and then I just kind of fell off and I didn't go back. And then I heard the same, like you heard people raving about season 3. I was like, maybe I should go back to this show. But if you're predicting everything that's happening, then maybe I'll just continue. Maybe I'll get around to it, but it'll be when I get through, finish my watch of Succession, which I've been really enjoying. So,
tell us about that. How is season 2? Where are you? What has happened? What are your thoughts?
So I finished season 1 because I got through about episode 8 of season 1, and I must admit the finale for season 1 I was kind of in and out because I just felt like it was just over long.
Yep.
With the wedding, and it was I just felt like okay, and it just kind of lost me.
Climactic, I will say that.
Yeah. Season 2, I'm really liking it. It's starting out with how the companies, the dynamics with the fathers and Roman and everything, and the rest of the crew, just all the machinations and just just the evilness of like the dad is just, and it's, I'm cheering for the kids to overcome this bastard, and but at the same so I'm at the third episode of season 2, and and basically I see what the hype was all about, and so it's a good show. I mean, it's a good watch. It's one of those things where, okay, I have to like cut myself off because otherwise I'll end up spending the whole evening binging.
Yeah. No, when you reached out to me, because apparently we do this, you're like, Sarah, what about your HBO subscription?
Yeah, my fire.
She's gonna give it to me because I'm gonna watch Succession.
Yeah, we do this. Yeah, my Fire Stick reset, so I like lost the password. I had written it down from whenever we shared it for Watchmen. So
no, if you have not watched Succession and you are looking for things to watch, don't watch Ozark. Watch Succession.
Yeah. It's
superior, and I do agree, Will. Their first season, there were, I think it's episode 6. Whenever they do that episode about where you think he's gonna overthrow his dad and take over the company, if you can make it to that episode, I think it'll get you through the rest of season 1. And then season 2, that is it. There is a buildup and there's a climax. And then there's a tease where I can't wait for season 3. I really can't, of that show. I love it.
Well, I will be there very soon. I'll probably finish the season probably over the next few days, and so then we can definitely talk season 3 together next when it finally drops.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was saying before about how I've been going through and contemplating, do I still need access to this channel or this streaming service because this show that I got it for is on hiatus. HBO, I've constantly been on the fence about, but what I'm finding is that whether it's a show like Succession or Game of Thrones or The Wire, they just have this catalog where you can find something. My parents, who also steal from me, they binge watched The Deuce over the weekend, the first season, for 3 seasons. I still haven't watched it. It's not my thing. But you just stumble upon these things, and so it's really hard for me to cut that cord. And now I've even found a new show because I watched their latest. It's just a half-hour comedy TV show called Run on HBO. Merritt Weaver and Domhnall, he pronounces it really strange. He's Irish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
I want to practice it.
He was General Hux in Star Wars, if I recall. Yeah.
Ex Machina. So they co-star, and I have watched this half-hour episode, and there's only one because it just premiered this weekend. I've watched it once every night for the last 3 days. 4 days.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw a review about it on the Hollywood Reporter, and I was going to reach. I've been meaning to ask you this week if you were going to check this out, and then I saw you put it on the rundown, so I was like, yeah, okay. I'm glad. I want to hear your thoughts because I've been thinking about when I read the review on the Hollywood Reporter. I was like, this looks pretty interesting. I might check this out.
I don't know why I keep watching it over and over again, and I think half of the reason is because if anyone has heard me talk about films, sometimes I'm drawn to really independent films. Drinking Buddies is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's really low budget, and it's just about people and human characters and their flaws and their relationships and love and also heartbreak. And that's what really sold me on this show, is it's just really two people who you get introduced to and who clearly have a history, who clearly find themselves circling back to one another with very different motivations. And there's something about it where I liked it. I like I said, this fulfills a certain kind of movie that I like, that I'm drawn to in that genre section. So
yeah, I like I said, well, that's good. I will definitely check it out, because like I said, I saw that you had added it to the rundown, so I couldn't wait to hear your thoughts about it and see if it was worth our time. And it sounds like that it is, at least from one episode.
Right, it's in a half hour too. That's what I keep thinking. And there's something, I rewatched it last night. Clearly, I'm obsessed, and I realized the pace. There is such a pace to that show, where there is no break. There's nothing that I would argue you could cut out from that first episode and be like, well, that was just filler. Because there's a purpose behind everything, and there's a beat that you rarely see, because this kind of vacillates between a comedy and a drama. So there's a comedic beat to everything, and a rhythm, and the score, I think, helps drive that pace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But I would recommend waiting until Sunday night when they drop the second episode, because it really pisses me off that it's only a half hour.
Well, I still got to get through Succession, so that'll be my next one.
Oh man. And speaking of HBO, I feel like you just added this because I swear I never saw this bullet point before.
I did. It just broke. Yeah, it just dropped late this evening. So.
Oh, well, do you want to take it away? You can take it away.
Sure. I'll take this one in just real fast. So, as we talked about streaming services and stuff, HBO has their new one, HBO Max, and JJ, they backed up the Brinks truck to bring him over from Paramount to HBO and Warner, and so he is developing 3 new series on the platform. One's called Duster. Don't know much about it. There's a offshoot of the Shining book by Stephen King called Overlook, and then for all our DC fans, he is adapting the Justice League Dark series from the comics into a series on the network. And thinking about this, of course, in the Justice League Dark series, Swamp Thing was a part of that, as well as Constantine. So obviously, Constantine is in the Arrowverse right now, but given that they've had Ezra Miller in Crisis, they could make it work if they wanted to bring him over, and also maybe this is a way to maybe get us that season 2 of Swamp Thing that we deserved, but was cut short. But we'll see. But that was just something that dropped this late today, and added it to the bullet to the show, because it was we had a couple things about HBO, and I felt like it could just slide on right into that. So.
Yes, and on that note, I would like to clarify, HBO does not sponsor this show.
It does not. Well, it'd be nice if they did.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And we finally get to talk about a non-HBO thing.
Yes.
Not mean that Hulu does sponsor us.
But we'll take it.
Yeah, little fires everywhere. So one more episode left.
Yeah.
Okay. I am very mixed about this episode. Almost more so than last week. Because as much as I'm like, okay, we're done with the flashback stuff. We're back to present day. This is really, there was a big emphasis placed on Izzy, and based on our discussion last week, it further proves my point that she is the coin between these two sides, between these two mothers. And everything kind of escalates with Pearl and the secrets. But especially towards the second half, for whatever reason, when Pearl finds out about the quote unquote money, I should have felt more empathetic to her cause and her anger. And there was something off about either the writing of that scene between her and Mia or the editing, because it did not feel logical or as logical as Pearl has argued for what she wants in the past. And maybe that's because there was a lot of emotions involved, or more emotions involved, but there was something really that kind of, I thought, was jarring. And then to lead into, again, my gripe, they again did a montage at the end with the song, and a very on the nose song.
It was.
Pictures, and then that killed me. I was just like, can you get any more melodramatic? Like, seriously? You don't. Yeah. I don't like this show again.
Yeah. I agree with you about how the reaction played out to an extent. It was a bit jarring, but also just thinking. But when I think about last week's episode and how we learned how that art and photograph came into being, it made sense in the overall arc of the season and the story with Mia and Pearl, given as far as Pearl wanting her own room and this transient life that she's had, since the day she was born, quite frankly.
Right.
So I get that, and I get, even though I felt like it was like a dramatic foil or a dramatic misdirect to get us to the ending of the show, as far as having Elena telling Pearl the truth about her mother, instead of it coming from her mom. So I had, I had my issues with it from a different point of view than your point of view.
Well, wait a second. What do you mean? Because I think part of the reason why I felt off is because that interaction occurs, and then later on in the closing, Pearl learns the truth from Elena, and so when she kind of gets blows up at her mom again, I'm kind of over it by that point.
Yeah.
You don't need two blow-ups in one episode, and it's like,
true. Well,
but I will admit, the one line that Pearl does say to her mom that I'm like, no, that's the Pearl we met and we fell in love with, is when she says, I have everything I had everything I needed. I never had anything I wanted. And I was, lead with that.
Yes.
like you just spent 5 incoherent moments, and very, very, it was almost a Lexi argument that Pearl went to, and clearly she's been hanging out with Trip too long. Yeah. But that closing one, I'm like, that's the Pearl. That's very articulated and sums it up in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and like I said, I think, I got, like I said, I was really more pointing towards, like you're saying, the editing and that kind of thing, as far as a different place. But I agree that that moment could have played out differently and still had achieved the same goal. But again, I think the bigger point, the thing that you set up earlier about Izzy being the coin for everyone really came into play with her the flashback with her and her best friend this week, and really, showing, the thing that she, her and Mia's relationship about, being true to yourself and basically in some regards, I think Izzy being the child that sometimes Mia wishes Pearl could be, and then also on the other side, Elena feeling like she has a more of a bond with Pearl than she does with her own kids.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I've never gotten the impression that Mia was trying to replace her daughter with Izzy or substitute, or there was a lack of a bond. Okay. I think Elena does that, and that's very clear. But with Mia, I think it's more about recognition, because we learned she was kind of the black sheep of her family because she loved art. And then when she moved, she even became more of an outsider. So she understands that when your family, the people who are supposed to love you the most, they reject you. And I think that's why Izzy, she can't reject her, because she gets it. She sees herself in her. So
I guess there is that kinship there. There is definitely that.
Yeah, but and maybe that's another thing that bothers me is what they're doing with Elena's character. And it really struck this point. I mean, she has been the villain, but in this episode in particular, she's being the dumb villain who you just you hate. And that's what villains are supposed to do. But they should also be a little bit three-dimensional. You should also understand their points. And in this episode, it felt like the writers had to make sure we understood, despite everything from last week, where you could understand the postpartum depression. You can understand being overwhelmed by 4 kids, having all of your dreams, like understanding you can't do it all, and the resentment and everything. Anything that might be sympathetic. Well, no. Let's have her basically disown Izzy. Let's have her spill the secret, try to blackmail her way into winning this court case, and ruin Mia's life. And at the same time, while they're doing that to Elena's character, they're also making Mia the biggest victim. which is true. However, there was a point where I described that Mia's character brings tension, and in this episode there was no tension in any of her actions. I knew exactly how she would respond. I knew what she was going to do in response to everything that Elena was doing. It was obvious, and it felt like they are trying to get to the end in a very mundane way, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I would agree with you as far as Mia this week. I guess they were really focusing on, I guess, with Mia's story. I guess it's pretty obvious in the storytelling that she's using BB as a way to make amends for her decisions with Pearl, and funding her defense fund and all those kind of things as a way to I guess make things right in her mind. And so there was that, but Yeah, but I mean, as far as Elena's characterization this week, I mean, everything about that was the only time I felt some sympathy. I don't know if it was not even sympathy, maybe empathy for her a little bit was when she and Izzy were in the car, and she just erupts and says, "I can't be your mother anymore," kind of, when she's
right.
And the only reason why I had empathy was because of what we learned about what her postpartum and the issues that she dealt with the pregnancy, given that it was unplanned, and then and all the things she dealt with after the fact. But that was about the only redeeming moment, or not redeeming moment, the only moment I felt any empathy for that character, because I mean, Bill was just yeah.
He had a very he was funny in this episode because Bill the writers make us like him. The writers make us understand. There's a reason why Izzy and Bill are really tight.
Yeah.
And it's surprising when she has that blow up about the photography that he doesn't come up and try to coax her back in, back downstairs or anything. But he suspects that Elena cheated on him when she was in New York, and he gathers evidence. Elena tells him what she discovered, and he makes the right decision and doesn't use it in court because witness tampering and everything. He's a stand-up guy. I mean, it's Joshua Jackson. No,
it is.
I like it, but again, there's something about this episode where all of the characters fell flat for me.
Yeah.
And everything that, even the stuff with Moody, the stuff with the kids, and I do agree with you that one moment when she actually acknowledges it, you are just too hard to deal with. Yeah. But what bothers me is they almost take it back because then Izzy gets out of the car and then the scene's over and they're back at the house.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. Huh? Why, Elena? You talk all day about being a mother and what that means and the responsibility, and yet you say what you wanted to say for a long time out loud, but you don't actually resolve the conversation.
Nope. Yeah,
it was weird.
It was weird. And I want to one thing about Bill, that even though I appreciate him being a stand-up guy and doing the right thing and not dragging me through the mud unnecessarily during the court proceeding. But on the other hand, and to your point about this whole episode, then we have his whole thing about not recognize the white privilege, and the comments he made about BB. Well, she has no chance of winning this case, and there was that through line. I mean, I guess that's been all season with Bill and the family is and it's intentionally so, that through line of just they have a very privileged life, and of course, obviously Mia's been the foil who has been able to, and Pearl as well, able to to show that mirror of that in the season, but yeah, so that was the one thing that, one moment I was like, yeah, Bill, and then the other moment I'm like, oh man, you let me down. And just all the character. I mean, there was basically
sorry to interrupt, but do you think if this was about if the court case did not involve a single Oriental woman, Asian woman, but was a father, do you think he would have said the same thing?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And I understand the race aspect of it, or the white privilege. I just wonder, it's because of that interview with Joshua Jackson where he talks about how he's used to the nuclear family, the family of the
Yeah.
50s.
Yep.
Everything's perfect. The mother stays home, takes care of the kids. The mother just has the kids. That's her role. And everything that Mia represents and what she did is a direct threat to that. And also is part of the reason why he finds himself at odds with Elena, because Elena, honestly, she does want that other life. She wants to be both.
Yeah. And it's and that's one of the things I did like about the episode, because I mean it did show the complexities of this and the multi layers of Bill as a character.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've talked about it as well with his bond with Izzy and the fact that he knows that she is gay, and he is okay. So it's that weird dichotomy with Bill, that of all the characters in this episode, he was the only one that I felt some, I actually ended up rooting for this time, because, and Pearl to some degree too, because I think Pearl was just seemed to be the most innocent one in this episode from all the things going on. Even though, I mean, I know she, there's issues between Moody and his brother as far as picking one over, one has a clear crush on her, but she ends up with the other.
Well, and that's what kind of bothered me about the episode, and Pearl in particular, is while she's complaining about her mom's secret, in my mind, I'm just like, girl, you're doing the same exact thing to these boys, and brotherhood, you're gonna screw up their relationship. Do you realize that? And and you have your own secrets. So
it's just like I guess this is all the secrets that all these characters had. I mean, it just when I left the episode, I was just like, well, damn, if the goal was to make us all hate every single one of them this week, they succeeded, because I just had a bad taste in this episode when I was done with it.
Yeah, and maybe that's really what it's about. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of ignorance, and to your point about how we tend to see both through these characters and all their perspectives, we see both sides, because Izzy, she tries to express herself, does it in the wrong way, and Mia calls her out on it and says, you can't do that. You have to understand your own privilege. Mia goes about it much more gently than she did with Lexi. That's for sure.
Definitely.
But I thought that's a moment to like take out and just play in schools for children, because people need to understand what that means and what that is on that level. Like, it's a very well written scene.
It was.
And I think that helps us better understand privilege and acknowledging it, because there's almost a fear. And I think that's what you get with Lexi in this episode, is if you acknowledge that you are privileged, well, then are you acknowledging all of those stereotypes that fall under that category? What does that mean? And no, it's more about making sure you understand so that you don't unintentionally offend people.
I really liked that scene between Lexi and her boyfriend. Actually, that was another standout moment for me in that episode, because it for the reasons that you just outlined. I mean, I thought it did. Those were the moments, and I guess that's the thing about this series. It's like, yes, it's completely on the nose, and when they point these things out, but whenever they could execute them well, and I think that was one of the strong things about this episode, is that it did execute those messages in a way that, like you said, I mean, you should definitely show those to folks in school or sensitivity training or whatever, because it does point out, like, this is is why what you did is insensitive, and check yourself before you do it again.
Yeah. It's a very well written and produced after school special.
It is. It is.
Oh man, I hope that part of me really wants to be surprised about who burnt down the house at the end of all this, and where Izzy was, because they kept saying she was missing. And that does mean, please don't let it be Izzy who burns down the house.
I hope it's not. I'm hoping it's like one of the brothers.
Or a part of me just I keep remembering how Elena looked. There was something so off about it that I don't know if she couldn't get over it, or if maybe she couldn't believe what she was capable of.
Yeah.
So maybe she did it because this thing between her and Nia is clearly escalating to a point of physicalness. So we'll see. We'll see. We will also, please follow us on Twitter, because Will really wants connection and community. So he has this crazy idea, and we will be having a Arrowverse crossover party on Twitter right now. You should still be able to find a poll as we determine which of the very many crossovers to watch. Yep. And if we don't like what you pick, then we will obviously pick the one that we wanted to, or I wanted to.
Yeah,
and that's what we'll watch.
Yeah. Make sure it's our pinned tweet right now, and make sure you follow the thread, because I couldn't get all 6 of them into the tweet. So make sure you scroll down to both tweets. I'll recirculate it again right now. Crisis on Earth X is the leader in the clubhouse, but keep voting, folks. I think it goes. I think it's 4 more days or so to vote. So make your selection, and then Sarah will override us all.
And where can they follow you?
Yes, you can follow me at Will M. Polk, WILLMPOLK.
And you can follow me at SJ Belmont, SJBELMONT. Please follow our crew on Twitter at Scene and Nerd. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. But most importantly, rate, subscribe, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Good night, Geek Out. You're welcome.